The core project management processes in an SAP project. In this video, you will learn about the core project management processes that must be established and managed to achieve a successful project result. The video is divided into the following topics: project management frameworks, the core project management processes. So let's look at the project management frameworks first. For reference, we put in here in the top part of the screen, we put in an overview of the different phases of a local SAP implementation project. Those phases should be known by now through previous lessons, where we have project preparation, business blueprint, meaning design, realization, we build and test, final preparation, we train and final test, and then we go live and support. So this is known to everyone by now. So let's have a look at the different project management processes that needs to be in place in order to successfully manage the project through these different SAP phases. The illustration here shows, first of all, the main project areas or activities not project activities, but project management activities that is required in order to execute a project. So you start initiating your project, you plan it, you execute it, and as you execute it, you control it, and then you close it off once the project is done. So this is the traditional or the main project activities that you need to ensure as a PM is executed. Around this, we have the more specific processes that needs to be in place in order for you to execute these activities. That can be quality assurance, that can be risk management, scope management, change control, cost management, communication, and so on. So this is all detailed processes or disciplines that the project manager needs to know and execute those processes throughout these phases. So naturally, in the initiation phase, you will start by doing the planning. So time, you will plan your project, you will make the project plan, you will initiate your team, you will build your team, and in this phase you will finalize the plan ready to go. You will finalize how are you going to manage your team members, and then you start executing. That means you will apply change control and so on and so forth. So this is a holistic view of the project management framework. Now, if we have a look at some of the most common providers of or most known project management frameworks when we talk about SAP. So I put in a few logos here, a few names that you already know. You know the ASAP. This is the global, this is the local. So SAP has the accelerated SAP or ASAP framework, which will cover this. That will cover these processes. Now, if your organization has not implemented SAP before, you will naturally not have ASAP. But you might have either Project Management Institute's PM book or the Prince2 framework. Now, both of these follows the exact same processes. Now, they might have a different name, but it is the same steps. You go from initiating the project, planning, executing, controlling until you close the project. So if you want to drill into the detail of what project management processes that needs to be in place and the templates and how to do it, then you should refer to either Prince or PMI, which all large organizations already have a reference to. And if it's dedicated SAP, which hopefully in your case it is, since this is an SAP project management course, you will then refer to the SAP ASAP method. Now, one of these don't rule out the others. You can easily use or have a combination of Prince2 certified people and PMI certified people, and you somehow find a middle ground in between and say this is the best of both worlds that I want to use, and you can combine this with either your local or your global project here. So one doesn't rule out the other. Now, there's a lot of different processes here on the chart, and I don't expect any of you to know all of these slices of the pie here. But what I would like to create awareness of is to focus on or get an understanding of what are the most important ones. So in my view, and from the lessons learned from running projects around the world, there are a few processes which, if not in place, you are sure to fail before you have even started. And that is, first of all, team and leadership. If you don't have the right team, you will not succeed. You need to ensure you have a team that has the skills to perform the task and that is capable of performing the task very effectively. Now, a high-performing team is difficult to get, but you need some kind of coherent or well-performing team. Otherwise, you're doomed at the beginning. Hopefully, by following our advice earlier for establishing the team, you will be able to build a high-performing one. Second one, risk management. You need to know from the beginning what are the risks in your project. And by knowing the risk, you can take mitigation actions for the top risks and thereby significantly reduce the likelihood of failure. If you don't know your risk in the project, as you start out, you have no way of controlling the unforeseen. So as you remember, the project manager of the future, it is to expect the unforeseen, or expect things before they actually happen. So for that, you need to have a risk management process in place. On all projects, scope is difficult. So here it says change management. Don't confuse this with the change manager. There still needs to be organizational change management happening. But this is change management in relation to no uncontrolled scope changes or changes happening. If you don't have a process in place for documenting and managing your changes, and you will also have a very hard time, because you will most likely get into a scope creep situation where your scopes just keep changing or keep expanding. So change management needs to be in place. And here I want to stress that changes are not necessarily bad. A change request is not necessarily bad, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you will have to pay extra. It doesn't necessarily have a cost. We'll get to that more when we get into the change management or the scope management process later on. So that's what I want to address about the scope of the project management frameworks and the core processes. Now in the next lessons we'll dive in deeper in some of these main processes and give you training, lessons learned, knowledge about how you get started with these. But for now, you should have a good understanding of the overall project management processes or framework that needs to be established and managed, and especially the areas where you need to focus on.